The 60s to me was graduating from high school and going on a field trip to Vietnam. The 60s to me, you have to realize, started off in 1960 in 8th grade. I graduated from 8th grade, and that was important to me. The same group of naive, patriotic kids. Then I watched from 8th grade to graduating from high school in 66 to graduating to Vietnam to this massive change. So there was a major metamorphosis. You could see a society change. What happened is that America will never, ever, ever be the same again as a result of Vietnam. Those little hometowns where the boy was taken away and he's sent back broken, either mentally or physically. The little hometown will never be the same just because of that boy. So that happened, and that's real, and that's important. What's sad is that, good or bad, about the 60s, people did not document, read, write, or do anything about the 60s until later on, much, much later than the 60s. You know, it's starting to become acceptable and vogue in the late 80s and early 90s. But the 60s weren't documented. I was very upset. My children, when they went to school, in most of their textbooks, my oldest daughter, in her textbooks, there wasn't a paragraph about America's longest and most costly war. It brought blood to the streets of America in demonstrations as well as blood in foreign soil. There was nothing written there. So what bad can come out of that time is that we don't document and study it. What's happening 20 years after is that people are now studying. People are now reading. People are now finding out about the 60s. And what happened in the 60s was a lot of bad things. So let us not deceive the youth of today by saying the 60s was just all wonderful. It was romantic in the sense that there were major strains and you were glad to get through them. But there was a lot of pain going through those strains. Who can tell me it was joyous to see RFK, Martin Luther King, JFK killed? What's joyous about that? Who can tell me the Vietnam War with 58,000 men killed, 303,000 injured, and 2,700 missing in action is joyous? There's a lot of bad, a lot of pain. What good can come out of that is if we document it, we read about it, we study it, and we can make sure it doesn't repeat itself. Just like we did with World War II and the 40s. Let us study and review the 60s to see what we, today, can make good and learn from the mistakes, and there were a lot of mistakes in the 60s, and that's what good can come out of it.